Stay back. They did drop the bomb on the nuclear facilities, but Trump said he ain't trying to get his boots on the
I
ground.
hope, and I hope not. And credit to Donald Trump for that. I know some of you guys ain't gonna like hearing that, but we're trying to keep it 100 here. We just want to be objective. We're looking at things from an objective lens. Give the man credit for saying, I'm not. He did what he felt like he had to do, which was take out the nuclear facility. Okay, hey, mission accomplished, so to speak. And if you accomplish what you were trying to do, then what other purpose do you have to continue forward with the war? Where you just want to put American troops in on the ground so young people start losing their lives? I got to give them a little bit of credit for that.
Yeah.
You did what you had to do, but you're not putting anybody else in harm's way. And I have respect for that.
Yeah, and I think also Israel is like, ooh, if America don't help us with Iran, that war can get ugly because what I see, Israel didn't look like a dominant force over Iran. That's just my opinion. And I think when we bombed Iran, the facilities, I think we threw a little caveat to Israel. We kind of gave them a little it's almost like U.S. saying their little brother Israel, like, oh, this is a close fight. And we like, oh, we don't want to jump in, but we can't let you lose. I think that's where America is at. And I'm going to be the first to say this. I think the Israel prime minister and the Iran president, both of them need to go. I think, and Donald Trump said it, they've been fighting for so long. They've been fighting for years. I mean, this goes back hundreds of years.
Okay, so you replace the leadership, but who do you replace them with? I mean, you get Israel ain't changing their stand.
No.
You know what I'm saying? So you get rid of Netanyahu and you bring in a new dude, a new prime minister or president, whatever. What is he gonna do different?
We just need somebody that's just gonna say, hey, we don't want no war. I don't care if y'all don't like each other. I don't care if y'all put travel bans. But I am not for war. We're not for no war. No, we're not supporting. Now, only way I support war if Iran, I'm gonna highlight if Iran would have shot some missiles at bases and didn't tell it and actually hit somebody and killed some of our soldiers, I would personally send Donald Trump a letter and say, go bomb Iran.
And that's the whole point about where I think Donald Trump is at, because the Iranians telegraphed that missile strike. They called and said, hey, we're going to shoot some at you guys in a little bit, right? And I'd be like, okay, I'm getting into a fight with somebody and go, hey, I'm about to punch you, right? I'm going to hit you in the face, right? That's not how it works. So I think the Iranians really did that in a sense, just kind of save face, like the Americans hit us and we hit them back. I think that's what that's for, but I really think they did that so that they can keep open the door for negotiations. I think they're trying to give themselves an off-ramps of this kind of, I don't want to say beat down, but Israel is kind of taking it to the great people of Iran.
And they are, and Iran, they know they can't whoop the United States. No, they know it. Every country on this planet know that. But what they could do is cause a lot of other disruptions with a lot of other countries to where they're going to be able to move around a little different.
They were in that position. They were very strongly in that position. But Israel has taken out Hamas for the most part. Israel has gone and dealt with Hezbollah for the most part, right? You still got the Houthis down in Yemen, but Iran's two, well, actually three. The Houthis, Hezbollah, Hamas, and Bashar al-Assad, who's no longer in Syria. He was a stout supporter of the Iranian administration or regime, as they call him, right? And Iran supported Bashar al-Assad, but he's no longer in Syria. So Iran has been weakened in a lot of regards. And I just don't see them in a position of strength at this point anymore.
No, if I'm Iran, which I'm not, Iran want to buy some time.
That's what they're trying to do.
They need to buy some time. They need to recharge up. They need to re-strengthen up because they lost so many different leaders. I don't know the exact numbers.
A lot of military leaders in this little back and forth with Israel. See, Israel, the one thing Israel has is they have an incredible information intelligence gathering system, right? They have this, their CIA, so to speak, there is called the Mossad, and they're one of the elite special operations units in the world. So they have informants on the ground in Iran, and ironically enough, the Iranian government put 3 dudes, killed 3 dudes to this morning or yesterday who was accused of spying for Israel. So the Israelis have a lot of resources on the ground in Iran that's really helping to direct and focus their war.
And it's crazy, and I truly believe Putin, and I'm going to tell you why. I think Putin is trying to misguide Iran to stall time, because think about for Putin's mindset, what have we not been talking about the past week or two?
The Ukrainian war.
Nobody said nothing about Ukraine. Nobody. And matter of fact, I think Russia just yesterday, they had an attack and killed like 25 people. 20, and they were civilians.
They're killing. Russia is killing civilians.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The Russians believe that they are entitled to that land, right? Ukraine was once a part of the Russian Empire,
the USSR.
And they feel as if that they have a right to that land, right? They went and just took Crimea from Ukraine, right? And that ain't coming back, right? And then the whole eastern region of Ukraine, probably about 20% of its territory has been annexed by Russia. So,
I think Putin, he playing a long game in Russia. He trying to pick away
Absolutely.
until we find that right time, and just going to storm them and just rush them.
And the Ukrainians have made some improvements to how they're fighting the war. They're hitting Russia back. They're not just fighting the war, on their territory. They're hitting Russia, in Russia. The Ukrainians have fought a really good war against the Russians because the Russians thought that they were going to come in and within a month, a few weeks, they were going to run through Ukraine and install a puppet government. But that didn't happen. The people of Ukraine have fought a very good, very strong war with the support of their European allies in the United States as well.
That's it.
But they're over there fighting too, though.
Yeah, they are. And let me say this. Like my mentor told me, they've been fighting for hundreds of years. Over there, a lot of them, those leaders over there, just like some of our leaders here in America, some of them over there, they love fighting. They've been fighting for so long, they just love it. They immune to it. It's profitable. Very profitable. Make a lot of money. But I also want to say this about Ukraine, Zelensky, he ain't no angel either. Right? Before this war even started, I mean, it's like Putin and Zelensky, to me, is like 2 bad guys fighting each other.
I mean, I've heard that Ukraine is one of the most corrupt governments on the planet.
Yeah.
So, and you've heard Donald Trump say that Zelensky's an angel. So, the Ukrainian government as a whole has a very bad reputation for corruption, and clearly, if you're a part of that system, right, you're a part of that corruption as well. So, Zelensky ain't innocent. But one thing I want to get back to, Anthony, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, man. One thing I do want to say, though, I just want to point this out, man. The United States built up they sent aircraft carriers to the Middle East. They built up a lot of their weaponry around the Middle East in an attempt to kind of create a diversion. But the planes that actually hit Iran flew from Missouri, made the drop, and then flew back to Missouri. Almost a 40-hour flight, and that speaks to the skill of the American Air Force and American pilots.
Yeah, they said they didn't even stop. The pilots didn't even land. Right. And that just showed, and for me, I think that was a test operation. I mean, it was a real operation, but But they wanted, I think they had other ways to do it, but they wanted to test this particular one, just in case they need to drop something anywhere.
And that's what it shows, that they can hit you anywhere in the world, man. The United States Army is amazing. I'm not, I don't support war, and none of that. Just like you said a few minutes ago, but man, that's an impressive military operation, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, no country want to fight with us. Putin don't want to fight with us. Putin want Ukraine, then he want to back off and think everything is good. China, they want to rip the benefits. China's smart. They want to rip the benefits, reap the benefits of the countries, because everybody get a little something. They want to, give Iran, because they over there in close proximity. They want to give Iran a little bit of, I'm gonna call it a little bit of advice, I should say. Trying to be a friendly.
No, they're playing the long game, like you said. China's playing the long game, and they can play the background in every situation, right? They got the economy, they have the military, and they have the intelligence, man. China is an ancient nation, man. They know what they're doing for their survival. So yeah, they want to influence Russia. They want to be able to influence Iran. They want to have a little bit of influence in Africa. They actually have military bases set up on the west coast of Africa, from what I understand. So the Chinese know what they're doing, man. What they're doing is calculated. It ain't no accident.
Absolutely, and I pray and hope that this ceasefire between Israel and Iran stay in place. I pray and hope both countries get new leaders that are willing. I'm not saying I got to be friends, but are just willing to just not shoot at each other. Just please quit. And this Ukraine and Russia thing got to end also. I don't want the United States to get involved, but all those France, Italy, NATO, all those other countries. I don't want to use the word NATO because that's going to automatically imply the United States also. But we want them to end this war. Putin, come to the table, end the war. Zelensky, do what you got to do, end the war, and let's we got to move on. We got to end these wars.
I just think Russia has too much of an agenda to end the war. They want that Russian Empire. Putin is a former KGB officer. He wants to return back to the glory days of the Russian Empire. I just don't see. I don't see it. And the reason why I say NATO is because Poland is right next door to Ukraine, who is a NATO member. So, it's getting sticky. And I think you're right. And that's what I think President Trump's trying to work toward, is trying to defuse these wars that can easily bring in other countries, right? Because you already got Korean troops in Ukraine. You got Persian. You got Iranian drones and missiles in Ukraine. You know what I mean? So, we gotta get a handle on this thing.
That's it. So I ask everyone, pray for peace, and we gotta. And when it comes to peace, I don't want to get into politics too much right now. It don't matter how you feel, but if it's for peace, we gotta work towards it. I mean, when it comes, I'm not talking about every single thing Donald Trump does, but if he has a plan to end the wars, just this one topic, ending wars, can we support that? Can we support that? Let's stop playing right versus left and progressive versus conservative, man. You know what I'm saying? We got to find some middle ground here. Abraham Lincoln said a long time ago, man, a nation divided, which comes straight from the Bible, right, by the way, right? A nation divided or a house divided against itself can't stand. So, we got to find some middle ground. We got to. We want peace, no wars, and please stay tuned.
We'll see y'all next week, man.
We're going to holler at y'all. God bless.
God bless you, man.
And let's pray for the globe.
Hey, pray for this world.
All right. See y'all.